Sky Cable TV Kenya, Beyond the Real.
Hi viewers, my name is Susan Muita with True Living Show, which airs via Sky Cable TV. Today we're continuing on a topic of having a journal, a medical journal for yourself. Last time we started and we tackled on various things, and we were saying that as your doctor has your history or whatever paperwork they have, or medical history, you are supposed to have your own personal journal. Why I say like that, it's because we also have a journal, or what we would call, you have your bank statement. So that's your journal on your money. Then you have another journal for your house. You either own a certain home or you rent a certain home, and you have, you know what is on this room, you know what is on that room. Okay, another thing is like on your fridge, you know what food you have there, what you have to eat. Then it's the same way we should apply for our medical journal. So our medical journal is what is concerned on your body, because health should be a priority. In the past, we know some people, they don't take health like something serious. We are all busy in life, but with even this pandemic of COVID, we have seen that having a healthy body which can fight any disease or anything, it's very important, because health is, it's among the first thing. Just like the way we say, okay, we need food to eat, we need a house to live in, then we also need a whole body to live on. And that's why we are saying that we're gonna be talking truly to ourselves. And that's where the name of True Living came from. So true living, mostly, we talk about medical things, but also it's like a balanced way of living truly to ourselves. Let's be honest with our bodies. Let's be honest with our health. Let's also, if we have a certain condition, a certain sickness, then we should have a way of trying to make, even with whatever condition is, we try to make it better. Let's say if I have a certain, I'm just giving an example with diabetes or asthma. So if I have asthma, I won't just leave it just there to continue be worse and worse. So I'll try to do the best things that I'll be able to maintain and manage my asthma. So I'll be using asthma medication, things which triggers my asthma. Then I should be avoiding them. Then I should be running away from dust, from dead lights, like from animals like cat or dogs. I'll move away from that if that triggers my asthma. Then some smells, there are some people with certain kind of smells. And that's why I'm coming back to, let's sit down and talk about having a journal. And everybody should have a journal. Myself, I created my own personal journal. And that way, let's say you go visit a doctor. When you have your journal, it's like you have a history of yourself. Even when you're going to be treated, it won't be guesswork. It's like a journey you have walked. Because what I say about my health, my own I should be my own first person to advocate for it. I'm the one who should know about my health, leave alone anybody else. It's always good to have a journal, because there are some things which happens. Let's say, like, even sometimes we say, okay, so and so had a stroke, but even before that stroke, there were so many signs before that triggered that you might have a stroke, but we ignored them. So some people, they say, oh, okay, I started having some headaches. Then it continued to be migraine. that was, you know, that was like a tick which should have made you think about what are the symptoms of hypertension. You know, we usually say that like hypertension does not have symptoms. You can easily get hypertension and you don't know you have it. But there are some triggers, there are some symptoms which you should be having an idea. Like, let's say I feel like I'm sweating, you know, I'm sweating, or I'm having headaches, or I feel dizziness, you know. If you really know your body, even let's say you're gonna have a stroke a certain time, if you really listen to your health, to your body, you'll know when did I start having high blood pressure. And that's why some people, when they have they feel certain kind of symptoms, they go to even a friend, let's say like somebody who knows how to take a blood pressure. If I feel like I'm feeling like I'm dizzy, you know, those kind of symptoms, I can go and ask somebody, can you take my blood pressure? And surely in that area you can find that oh, my blood pressure usually was used to be good numbers and now it is high. So in that way, if you listen to your body or have an idea, then you can be treated. Let's say like, you know, I felt like I had a small headache and somebody took my blood pressure and it was way high. Then I'll go to my doctor straight away and they might give me, you know, even if it's not strong medication for blood pressure, but they will give me something which, you know, will put the blood pressure down. But many people, they ignore their bodies, they ignore the signs. And that's why even like somebody will say, I used to, like 2 months ago, I had a bad headache, or I felt dizzy, or I fell. But they never took any action. And then by the time you go to them, maybe they had a mean stroke, they don't know. And then by the time you know, they have a stroke already and the damage is too much. They have to be rehabbed, they have to be done this and that. Well, if you have your own journal and you know certain date, because what we are talking about, the medical journal or whatever you might call it. Over here we can call it True Living Medical Journal. So you can even be chatting like in a month. You say certain date I felt like this. Certain date I had a sore throat. Certain date I started coughing. So you can even know when, like, rightly I got such a disease or a condition. So let's say even we talk about here, we usually talk about COVID. So because that's the pandemic which is happening today. So there are some people, you go to the hospital or they are sick. They tell you they have no idea. I don't know how I got it. I don't even know where I got it. Then you go to a different person. They tell you, oh, when we met at a certain time, somebody over there, they were saying they feel like they have a sore throat. And I think that person is the one who had COVID and he gave us. So some people, they are able to locate the source of a problem. I'm not just talking about COVID, you know, it's anything. Let's say even if you have, you get another kind of a disease. It might not even be germs or bacteria, but a condition. So you have an idea, okay, when I fell is when I started feeling pain on my back. And then after some time, people will say, I went to the doctor and I was told that I have a broken rib. When did I ever had a broken rib? So if you have a journal and you say, a certain time I felt pain on this side or the other side. If you ever had a broken rib or it's healed but it's looked like it was broken at a certain time, you'll have an idea of when you had it. So we are continuing on talking of what should be on your medical journal or True Living journal. Last time we had talked about having your name, knowing your blood group, knowing your diagnosis, knowing your surgeries, knowing the medication you have, knowing all the diagnoses you have, knowing all the doctors you had, knowing the time you go to bed, when you wake up, what kind of food you eat, what kind of supplements you take, what kind of medication you take. So we are continuing from there. And before we continue on what should be on your medical journal, just go down there. There is a ravish red button. Just press it, and you can comment there. You can say what you think can be on a medical journal, or what history, or what should you be putting down, so that medically you can be knowing what you're going through, so that you can run your body, because the more you concentrate on something, the more you know it. So we are talking, I'm always giving an example on your bank account, so you know, when did I purchase certain thing, when did I deposit money, when did I withdraw. So in that way, if there is a scam, or somebody came to your account and used your number card and withdrew your money, you'll know. The same criteria for medical. If you know your body very well, you know how you eat, you know the medication you take, you know how you are exercising. Even when things start turning bad, you'll have an idea. You'll say, okay, when I added these pounds, or when I lost these pounds, this happened. When I don't exercise, this happened. When I, like myself, I know if I don't exercise for some time, I become lazy. Things don't go the right way. I don't have enough energy. Things like that. So, another area where you should put on this whatever note or medical journal or whatever you might call it, but this thing is to help you know yourself better, avoid getting sick. It will help you. Or if you get sick, this journal will help you be able to be treated the right way. You'll even know yourself, because when you put things down, it's different from when you don't put things down. Because let's say your body has a pattern. When you write it down, when that pattern repeats itself, you go back to your old notes, you'll know where you stand. So one of the other sections that we can be putting on this medical journal for yourself, for your own keeping. You might use it or you might never use it. You might use it with your doctor or a therapist or a specialist, or anybody, even your family, or even somebody who can help you, because we are not all doctors, we are not all specialists, because even the specialists, they still also go to other specialists also. So it's good, because here you have to advocate for your health. Nobody will come, let me not lie to you, and advocate for you like the way you can advocate for yourself. So be your own advocate. So one part, you can write your allergies. You can write your allergies. Sometimes we say, or we sit here and say, do you have any allergies? Allergies is not only for medications. And allergies, there are some medications. Let's say you say, okay, I'm allergic to ampicillin or whatever. You might also be, if you, at one time you are treated by a certain kind of antibiotic on the same group. So you might not be treated by another one in the same group. But if you are allergic to one of them, you might be allergic to the other one. So it's a group. So it's good, because you might go somewhere, you have an infection, and the doctor want to treat you with a certain kind of antibiotic. So if you are treated long time ago and you don't tell the doctor, or you cannot remember what was the name of that antibiotic, you might be treated with it or another antibiotic in the same group, and you might react. And we know that allergies, when you react with one allergy, the next time you are given the same allergy, it triples the reaction. So that's why we say, like, okay, let's say like people who are allergic to peanuts. The first time they might be itchy. Then the next time it might be worse. Then it will reach a time where you cannot even breathe. So be wary on allergies. And allergies are not only medication. So sometimes if I've never been allergic to any medication and I go to a doctor and they ask me, are you allergic to anything? I usually might say no. But I might say, okay, when I eat peanuts, this happened. So that's an allergy. Okay, when I use this kind of soap or more, or, dial, I usually react this way. That's an allergy. Or if I breathe this kind of dust, I react like this. So those are allergies. So write them somewhere. If I eat this kind of vegetables or fruit, I usually feel like this. So those are allergies. So we can be allergic to, to medications. We can be allergic to environment. We can be allergic to foods, seasonings, spices. We can even be allergic to clothes, because we know very well that there are people who are allergic to wool. So know what you are allergic to. When you are young, you used to be given something and then it's never used to get along with your body. It might be itching, it might be swelling, it might be good taste, bad taste on your mouth, or so all those are called allergies. Let's say even there are some leaves. Like people here where I live, there is a lot of oak trees. Some people are very allergic to that kind of, trees or the leaves. So know all this. Just write them, because what I mean with like a medical journal for yourself. If something always makes you feel in a certain way, that is your body. That's your body reacting. That is your body. So that is your health. And that's why on this show we call it true living, because we want to be true to ourselves. We want to be true to our bodies. We do not only talk about sicknesses here. We also talk of living better, true to ourselves, because we are not going to live like somebody else while my body is behaving on a different way. So that even when you live with somebody, if a certain kind of, let's say like detergent doesn't work for you, so let's say it's your family members, then you'll start buying that blend of soap and use which will be comfortable for you. But if you don't know, or you don't know, then people in your household, they will use the same soap, and then it's going to have effect on you. And then at times people say, oh, so and so always scratches, when we bring this and that, they scratches. But that's a reaction to your body, and that's an allergy for you. It might be an allergy for, it might not be an allergy for somebody else. It may be only allergic to you. So it is very, very good, because when you write a journal, when you stay with somebody, you can just say, okay, when I'm near a cat, I know you love cats so much, but can you see I have an allergy for dendrites, for living with a cat. I always sneeze, I always cough. Or don't bring peanuts near my place because I'm allergic to peanuts. Because there are some people who, even in the past, they have some allergies. Even before they eat that whatever plant or whatever food, even the smell of that food can give them allergies. So it's always good to write it down, because even when you are meeting a new person, or you share a workplace, or you go to places, or you are in a journey together, or you go to a wedding together, then they'll know so and so is allergic to this, so we should not serve that kind of food. We should not cook the food like this. I should not stay next to somebody when my clothes are washed with certain kind of detergent, because it might, it's always good to advocate yourself. Just learn how to advocate for yourself. Another thing which is good to have on this journal, just write how you breathe, because there are certain places you go, you feel like you can't breathe. Okay, am I having shortness of breath? Is it after exercising? Is it after I go to a certain place? Is it when I'm doing certain kind of a job? Have an idea. Have an idea. Know how you breathe. Even you can even have, like, have an idea of my oxygen level is at what, let's say, like, we usually say it's normal to breathe, to have oxygen level, or we usually call it saturation oxygen level from 90 to 100. You are still on the normal range, but it's always good to know what level, because the more you head up to 100, that's the best. When, let's say, before you used to have a saturation level of 100, 99, 96, then you start moving down to 90 and then 88, then you already have an idea that if my oxygen level is going down, then I must be having something. Maybe I have a respiratory disease, or maybe I'm having shortness of breath, or maybe my weight is making me hard to breathe. I'm not able to walk the way I would walk, or the attitude of where you live. Like we say, the people in the mountain, or in lower grounds, the saturation level might be different because of the oxygen levels. So it's always good even to have an idea, because you'll start knowing, when did I start having shortness of breath? I used to breathe well. I used to do cardio exercises. I never used to have a problem of breathing. Now I'm having problem of breathing. So that whatever is making that breathing go down, you might solve it. It might be a disease, it might be weight, it might be age, it might be anything. It might be asthma, it might be COPD, it might be something. When you put it down and say, oh, at certain time or whatever, I started having 96% before I was 100. So at least you read it and you'll have an idea what happened. So you can even write that history there. Then I know we tackled about pain. So pain comes and go. Pain is different. Some people never have any pain, but you might fall, or you might have inflammation of something, or you might be overworked, or you have certain kind of pain. And this pain, we should be able to rate the pain. Okay, we usually say, when you go to the doctor and you say, okay, I have an elbow pain, my pain is 5/10. So 0 being no pain and 10 being the worst pain I can ever have. But even this type of pain, we all know the pain are different. So sometimes you'll say, okay, I have a burning pain on my lower back. I have a sharp pain. You should know how to differentiate the pains. I have an itching pain. I have a tender pain. I have a throbbing pain. They are all different types of, or I have a general pain, or I have joints pain. When you have that kind of knowledge, it's easier to know the source of your pain. Is it because I fell, I broke something? Or is it a creation of a disease which is coming to me? Or how do I solve this problem? What can I use to relieve this pain? Or when did I start having this problem? So if you write it, when I fell one time, I had this kind of pain. The pain was like this. So if you get another type of pain, and the reason I'm saying like that is because when you have chest pain, it's totally different with the stomach pain. So, but if you have never sat down and said, okay, the abdomen pain is like this, when you get chest pain or when you get the gas pain, you might mix all. And some pains need to be taken care of immediately. If you have chest pain, it needs to be taken care of. So you can say, okay, when you know the type of pain, if it's sharp, throbbing, whatever, when you tell your doctor or when you know the kind of pain, then you'll be treated. Because you might have gas pain on your stomach, and you confuse it with chest pain. So you might be treated for whatever the problem, which is might not. Because even like when I was young, there was a time people would go to a hospital. They were treated for typhoid while they had malaria, and vice versa. And in that way, some people would get very sick because they are given medication which is not treating the other. People would get more sick, or people would die. And anyway, people are using their resources for a disease which they don't have. They are treated either for the other, like guesswork, and we don't want that to occur. So if you have your journal somewhere, at least one day you say, okay, I feel like I'm having itchy pain. So the next time you have a burning pain, because it's different, you'll know. The next time you'll have a tender pain, you'll have an idea. And that way, I'm not saying we are not perfect. Nobody knows. Even the doctors, sometimes they don't know exactly what you're having. But when you know your body, it becomes easier. Another thing is stress. Start recognizing when you have stress, because stress nowadays is the worst enemy we have to our bodies. It's exhausts us. Sometimes it gives us more issues, because when you are so stressed, your body immune goes down. You can easily get another kind of a disease, because when your body is so stressed, it's not able to fight other diseases. So you can have a bacterial disease, you can have a virus disease, you can even have a mental disease. So when you put on a journal, when I'm like this, is like when I'm highly stressed, or this thing stresses me, this and this stresses me. When you write it down, because you are being true to yourself. And that's why people who are watching this, they want to be true to themselves. They want to be true to their health. And that's why it's always good. Because even when you write down this kind of stress, you can even rate your stress level. You can say, okay, I have level 1 stress, that's a little stress. Then, 4, 5, 6, just like the way we have rated pain. So that when you go to another certain level, like a 10 out of 10 stress level, at least you can even go to somebody and tell them, I have this kind of stress, what can we do? Or when you write it down, when you feel like your stress is so high, you know what moves that stress. So you'll avoid going there. Or you'll have an alternative, or somebody who had a level like that can help you on how to solve it. Or you can go further and ask for help. And before we continue on talking about stress, on what we should be writing on our True Living journal, don't forget to go down there. You see that reddish button, just press it and subscribe. And you can also give a likes on whatever we are talking about. So we just talked about stress. So when you write down on what gives you stress, so in future when that kind of stress occurs, then you know at what level do I need help, at what level do I slow down. Because there are other people, sometimes they recur with problems or some sickness because they let the stress build up. But if at a certain area they knew that I cannot take this kind of stress, when it reaches at a certain stage, they either relax or ask for help, or just do whatever you have to do to deal with the stress. Another part of on this journal which you should also indicate is appetite. I know we talked about earlier, the other episode we had talked about the journal. We had talked about having a journal on what foods you eat. Also have a journal on your appetite. Let's say today you might choose different days for different things, but just have a part where you say, when things are going well, when I don't have pain, when I don't have stress, my appetite level is like this. So that when you stop, when your appetite goes up or down, you have an idea of what is going on. We are all different. There are people who, when they are so stressed, they eat a lot. There are other people, when they have stress, they don't eat. So in that way, if your appetite is at, your appetite is at a certain level, when you start increasing, then the stress is coming up, because sometimes we don't catch up when the stress is there. Other people see us and they see us indifferent. But when you know your body, because what we are championing on, what we are talking on here, what we want to get here is knowing yourself, knowing your body, knowing your health, trying to fight to be true to yourself, so that when changes come, you know how to tackle them. When diseases come, you know how to deal with it. So when your appetite is high, just know whether it's the food or is it something different. Because as we have talked about many other diseases, let's say like diabetes, we know when most people, when they are diabetic, they have high appetite for sugars. Majority, I'm not saying everybody. They have high appetite for carbs, and especially processed carbs. While we talk about people with high, what do you call it? When we talk about people with high cholesterol, we know they also have high appetite for fats, high appetite for things which will give them, high cholesterol. And all conditions are like that. Even when we talk about people with hypertension, we know they love foods which are fried, foods with a lot of salt. It goes like that. So everything goes along with whatever it is. There are some abnorms, but whatever happens, it's like that. Because when you are diabetic, especially type 2, we are not talking about type 1 because you're already born with it, or your pancreas doesn't produce enough or not at all any insulin. But for those people who are diabetic type 2, mostly their body asks for more sugars, more carbs, and all the other diseases are also categorized in whatever food you have to eat and whatever, but that's one of them. So this is Susan Muita with True Living Show. It comes every Tuesdays, 8 p.m. Eastern African time and 12 noon Eastern time. Don't forget to subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you. Goodbye.